Hello all, and welcome to tonight's beer review, which I am going to dub the Inflation Sticker Shock beer review. So as you can see, got a haircut. Yeah? Yeah? Well, guess what? Cost me $21 for this, not including the tip. And mind you, I'm not going to like a fancy salon or even like, you know, a mid-tier barber like Fantastic Sam's or something like that. I'm going to like this place, it's literally in a strip mall, has Vietnamese immigrants who barely speak English, so something that like 2 years ago would be like $15, $16 tops. Now it's like it's gone up by like a third of the price. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to like buy a Flowbee and start doing my own hair if it keeps up at this rate. You know what I mean? Anyways, what are we reviewing? Well, my dad gave me this can of Starship IPA, which I guess is actually technically a double IPA because it's 7.7 ABV, which is well into double IPA territory. And why is it called Starship IPA? Because of the inclusion of Galaxy hops. Do I know the flavor and nose profile of Galaxy hops? Not really. I don't really know the profiles of hops all that well because I don't really do verticals of, IPAs. But looking forward to reviewing this one. I've only had a little bit of cornbread to eat within the past like 5 hours, so yeah, it's going to go straight to my head. So, without much further ado, let's go and pour this one out already, shall we? Yeah. Go. Now, this is dated June 26, 2022. I'm guessing it's a fresh by date rather than make date because otherwise this beer has traveled from the future, from several weeks in the future to be now if it's a brew date rather than best by date. So, a very hazy, cloudy, tangerine orange. There appears to be some sort of sediment inside of it. Is this a live yeast? Doesn't say live yeast. Okay. But yeah, you can kind of, let's see if you can see that there. No, my camera doesn't like to go and do close-ups when I want it to. But almost orange juice coloration and opacity there with a thick, fluffy white head. So I got some tangerines, tropical fruit, hints of dankness, hints of ozone. But yeah, definitely some tangerine and tropical fruits dominating the nose there. Other citrus-like notes as well. Malt's not really apparent. Hard to go and suss out whether it's going to be sweet on the palate or fairly dry. And really, only one way to find out. Well, thick and very chewy on the palate. surprisingly, it lacks taste to a certain extent. There's some mild bitterness up front that peaks in the mids and declines into the finish, and an overwhelming top note of booziness, which is not surprising for a 7.7. Booziness is not too apparent on the palate itself, more in the top note. I don't know what this sediment is. It's not yeast. There's no yeast-like taste notes here. Yeah, there's really nothing on the palate. Well, let me see. Since it's decided to go blurry again, I can kind of show you maybe. See over here at the top? There's like that white stuff kind of swirling around. That's a sediment. Yep. And let's see here if I can get this thing to go and focus in the back there. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, just some mild bitterness. There's no other flavor notes there. It's shockingly, even though the best buy date is, June 2022, 26th of June 2022, it is shockingly, you know, um, it's really gone insipid, honestly. And what's interesting is that I had the mimosa sour from that was also gifted to me, and that one still seemed to have quite a bit of its taste and nose profile. So it's kind of interesting that this one, other than like some fairly muted nose, has gone completely, gone with all the rest of the hop dimensionality in the palate. And it's actually kind of interesting. Usually the nose will disappear first, and there'll still be, you know, taste on the palate. This is like the first time I've had it where it's complete opposite, where there's still things going on in the nose, but the palate's completely gone. Now, interesting thing about this, even though that all that's left is a sort of residual bitterness, there's not an overwhelming sweetness. And so I'm guessing the residual amount of sugar in this is actually pretty low. That a lot of it got converted to alcohol. As it warms up, some citrus-like notes emerging. Again, really, really muted on the palate. I would assume that this, again, is because it is approaching its best buy date of the 26th of June 2022. So, in regards to this review, take it with a big grain of salt. It's not really describing the beer as it should be. It's describing the beer, um, as I am tasting it right now, which I am guessing is about 6 months on. Usually, the best buy dates are 6 months in length. So, lesson learned here. Regards to IPAs especially, which rely on those really volatile hop oils, those alpha oils, to give it that liveliness in the nose and on the palate, always, always, always pay strong attention to your bottle dates. Check your boxes, check your cans, check your bottles. Particularly if they are being stored in an unrefrigerated manner. Having things being stored unrefrigerated accelerates that sort of decay process in the nose and in the body. So yeah, it's only 10 minutes in. Kind of run out of things to say about this beer. Again, I'd like to reiterate this is not a, for lack of better words, a fair review of the beer. I believe that for whatever reason, either age or storage, the hop dimensionality has gone out. Hops are what IPAs are ostensibly all about. I know a lot of people drink them because it gets them hammered fairly quickly. Um, and so perhaps in the future I will revisit this with a fresher can. Who knows? Um, yeah. Anyways, folks, that is your beer review for this evening. I'm probably going to go and finish folding my clothes, cook dinner, and maybe have one of my residual cans of a lighter beer after, depending on how I feel, and then call it a night. Well, folks, that's your beer review. Cheers.